Hello and welcome to Dave's Off-Grid, On-Grid Adventures. In this episode, we're going to be continuing with Power over Ethernet with a connection to our 24-volt battery system. We're going to be working with two sets of Cat6 Power over Ethernet cables. We're going to terminate one of them into a keystone jack in a bedroom. We're going to swap out the wall plate to accommodate 3 ports. Then we're going to terminate the Power over Ethernet cables to our solar power battery system. That's going to be 2 sets of lines, one running from the bedroom and one running from the kitchen. The kitchen project was in a previous episode where we installed a Power over Ethernet jack and we powered a tablet in the kitchen, similar to like a smart screen. We're going to install a 2-port wall plate, then connect our Power over Ethernet to a DC to DC converter, which we're using as a Power over Ethernet injector.
So currently we have a RG6 coaxial and another Ethernet RJ45 Cat6 line that was previously ran into this room. And so we're going to be adding another Cat6 line that we're going to use for Power over Ethernet. So we're going to need to change out that wall plate to accommodate 3 ports.
For terminating this Cat6 cable, we're going to follow the T568A configuration. Alright, so first we need to unstrand our wires so that we can line it up in our keystone jack. And we're going to go ahead and trim this plastic core from the Ethernet cable. And with most of these keystone jacks, they'll have a layout inside of how you need to run your wires. And so we'll follow the A configuration for this, and we'll just match up our wires, and we're going to use a punch tool to push it down and to clip off at the ends. So we're going to have blue wire, blue and white, and then green and white and green. Then on the bottom part, we're going to have brown and white, brown, orange, and orange and white. I typically like to get these set up on the sides they're going to go on. It's a little bit easier to get it into this keystone jack. Alright, so first we need green. I usually go and do the one furthest from the jack. Wrap this around, push it down a little bit. And you can use your tool, punch it down, and to clip it off at the end. And sometimes it doesn't cut the wire all the way, just wiggle it a little bit, and it's gone. We've got green, now we need to do green and white. Followed by blue and white. That is actually blue. Do blue and white first. and then blue. Okay, so that finishes out the first side. Now we'll do the next 4 wires. So orange and white is going to be first. Followed by orange. Followed by brown. And lastly, brown and white. All right. Let's clean this up. And you can put your plate, cover plate on the back. Should click in. All right. All right, so the old wall plate was removed, which was a 2-port wall plate. We're going to replace that with a 3-port wall plate to accommodate our newly ran Cat6 line. Now, previously, we had a coaxial line, which is an RG6 line, and then we had the original Cat6 line, RJ45, that is still going to be used, but it's for data and internet only. The new line is going to be for power over Ethernet. So it's still a Cat6 line, but this is actually running to a different part of the house. This is actually going directly into the garage where it's going to connect to the solar power battery system, which is 24 volt. And then we're going to use this for a future project to power devices directly from the solar power batteries through power over Ethernet. So when it comes to these keystone jacks, it's very simple. They just essentially snap into the wall plate. So we'll keep our coaxial on top. We'll do our data Cat6 in the middle. And our new Cat6 line that we're going to be using for power over Ethernet, we'll put this one down at the bottom. Once everything is clicked in, we'll just feed our wire back into the wall so we can get our plate back on. All right, and we'll screw this back on, get the wall plate back on the wall. All right, wall plate's on. All right, so before we can test out the power over Ethernet to make sure we do have power to it, we need to do the same thing and terminate this end of the Cat6 line that runs to the battery system in the garage. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll follow the same process as before. We'll follow the A diagram on here. All right, so we've terminated this into the keystone jack, and now we can test this out. And how we're going to test this out is using this. This is a DC to DC converter. And on the top side, it's a Power over Ethernet injector. So this is going to provide the power through our Power over Ethernet Cat6 line. And so your positive and negative is attached to the battery system. And then it's going to output voltage through your Ethernet cable. So for this test, we're just going to use some patch cable. All right, so let's test our Power over Ethernet port to make sure we are in fact receiving power. So we'll plug our Cat6 patch cable into our Power over Ethernet port. And we're going to be using this device right here. This is a Power over Ethernet splitter. And essentially, you plug your patch cable in, your Cat6 cable in at the top right here. This is going to provide power to a device. Now this splits it out to a data line and then a power source. In this case, this is a USB-C port. So you're taking the power from your Power over Ethernet port and then you can charge any device essentially through USB-C. All right, and so that pulsating amber light means we are receiving power. And then as soon as you plug in a device, then it will stay on continuously as it provides power to the device. Next up for the project, we need to get this mess of tangled wires cleaned up. We actually have two different lines running here for Power over Ethernet. We've got one running into the kitchen, and we have one that's running into the bedroom. Now, both of these lines are already terminated. So what we're going to do is we're going to mount another wall plate. We're going to use this low voltage single gang wall plate mount. And we're going to install it just below the one you see up here on the wall. And that's going to be just for our Power over Ethernet connections. And then we're going to reuse the wall plate we removed from the bedroom. This will work out nicely. It's 2 ports, and our keystone jacks will fit nicely in here. And then from there, from the wall plate down and around, down to this area down here. Then we can install our DC to DC converter, which is this right here. This is serving as our Power over Ethernet injector. It's made to be installed on a DIN rail, so we'll get that placed on the wall, and then we're also going to run everything through our 12-24 volt DC fuse block. But before we get to that part in a later video, we need to finish with our wall plate. First, we need to sketch out where our new wall plate is going to go. Once that's done, we'll take a Dremel tool and we'll cut into the drywall. With our drywall cut out, we can now place our wall mounting plates in. Tighten up our screws so that it makes a good bond with the back of the drywall.
Before we finish off the new Cat6 lines, we've got about 2 extra feet of cord that we don't need, and rather than tucking it in behind the wall, we're up here in the attic. We're just going to go ahead and pull this about 2 feet to take away the extra room we have down there where we're trying to hook it up.
Now that we took the extra slack out of this wire, our 2 Cat6 lines, it'll make it easier to take this back up and then down into our new opening. And then back down. And now we can place our wall plate on after clipping in our keystone jacks. We'll make the bedroom the top port and the kitchen the bottom. And once those are both pushed in, we can go ahead and get our faceplate mounted. That's going to wrap things up for this video. This was a demonstration of a simple power over Ethernet connection for an off-grid setting. One of the benefits of this is avoiding AC to DC conversion loss. This lays the groundwork for powering certain DC devices directly from power over Ethernet, which is coming from the solar power battery system. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe for future videos. We'll see you next time on Dave's Off-Grid, On-Grid Adventures.